Welcome back. We're going to see next HTML element. So the next HTML element we're going to learn is very essential, and it is the form element. So forms are very essential because they help users to input whatever data that they have been requested by the user or by the website. So forms are created by the form element. Then action tells us where we want to submit the form to. So for now, let me put hash there. Then we're going to have our first element inside form being the field set. So field set is going to create a nice border for the form. You see it already there. Inside the field set, we're going to create the title of the form. So, and it is using this element of legend. So, write legend there and say user credentials or user details. User details. Okay. So you already see our form taking shape here with user details there. So the first user detail is going to be first name. Okay, so for us to have a first name, we're going to use label element to have that name of first name. Okay, so our for attribute is going to hold first name. Then we're going to write first name colon. Okay, our first name here. So let's create a space where the first name is going to be entered, and that is done by the input element. Okay, so you have our input element there with type text. Okay, and you see it right away there. Then the second type of input that we could want is the last name. Okay, so let's create a label and call it last name. Give it a for attribute of last name and a text of last name. Then give it a colon. Okay. Then below it, give it an input where we want to input that last name. Okay. So let's have it like that. Now you notice these labels are not aligning themselves horizontally simply because they are not block level elements, they're inline elements. For us to make the second name go below the first name, going to add a break there. Okay, add another break there to create some more space. Okay, that's a little bit nice. Now, after the last name, we want them to enter their age or email first. So let's create a label for email. Email. Okay, so let's remember to add our two breaks here. Let me copy this. Okay, so let's have our input of type email. So let's find out type email there. Okay, now there are other attributes that make the form to be more specific. That's the name and ID. So let me say our name is email, then ID is email also. Okay, so allow me to add another attribute that is placeholder. Okay, so enter email here. Email here. So let me do the same to the other inputs. So we have type text, we have name as the last name. We have the ID also as a last name. Then we have placeholder of enter last name. and last name. Okay, that's the one that has appeared inside there. And then inside our first input, we're going to have our name as first name. I'm going to have our ID also as first name. And then we have our placeholder as first, enter first name. Okay. First name. Okay, our form is taking shape. Now next we want them to enter their age. You already see there simply because I had put input type of email as suggesting for me emails, then name similar. So we want to put another input type of age. Okay, so let me create a label. Let me say it's age. Okay, and run write age there. Okay, let me add my two breaks here. BR. Okay, now below it, let's have our input number. Okay, so let's scroll down until find input number there. Okay, so name is age, then ID is also age. Let's add a placeholder of enter your age. Enter your age. Okay, our form is taking shape. Let's see a different kind of inputs that are in forms. We have choices, choice buttons. Let me call them choice buttons. So gender. So let's have gender. Let's have a label of gender. So let's say gender there. Let's have gender. Okay. No, you can either be this or that when picking gender. Okay, so let me have our input before that. Let's have our two breaks. Where are they? Let me type them. BR. Okay, now we have our gender here. So I want to give us options to pick from. Now that's where radio buttons come from. So let me have input of radio. Okay, input of radio. It's here. Okay, input type radio, and then I'm gonna give it a name of gender, ID of gender. Okay, now once we have our radio there, going to give it a label. Okay, so let's give it another label of male, or rather let it be after the radio button. Huh? So after the radio button, let's have a label here that says male. It's 4 of male, and then have here male. Okay, and then below it, let's have a one break here. One or two. Let's try with one. Let's have another input of radio. Input radio. Okay, and let's call it female name. Let's give it female. Then ID of female. Then give it a label of 4 attributes to be female. Then to be our text of female. Okay, right. Now for us to have male and female positioned in the same way. So after the label, after gender, let's put a break there. Yes, they're taking shape there. Yeah, that's nice. So you have gender, you pick either male or female. Okay, male or female. Now, so moving on, we want to have another element that is checkbox. Okay, so checkbox. So let's say hobbies. We want to pick hobbies. So let's have BR there, or two of them. BR. So let's have a label of hobbies. Hobbies. You notice someone can have one or more hobbies. So let me have break there. Another break there. So I'll have an input of checkbox. An input of checkbox there. So let's call it hobbies. Give it the same ID. Okay. And then I'm going to say we're gonna give it another break there. Just to make our form look decent. Give it a label of let's say singing. Say singing. Okay, so that's our first checkbox there. Okay, it's a little bit too far. So that's better. I want to add another checkbox, so I can copy this. So I have one break there, then paste the second one there. So this time, let's say reading. Okay, let's have another checkbox, the last one. So let's have a break, and then paste, then say playing. Okay, so check this, check it out, or you can have both. Okay, so we are good to go. Now the next form element is going to be a select element. So select element is when you are given choices that you have to pick from. So there are times when you are filling your form and you have to pick from certain options that you've already been given to select one from. So this one starts by a select. This one starts by a select element. Okay. So we're going to start with a select element like that. I'm going to give it a name and then ID also. So let's say you want to select our favorite car brands. Okay. So before that, let's say cars. Let's give it a for cars, ID of cars also. Then just above it, let's have a break. Okay. Then let's give it a label. Okay, call it favorite cars, high fan cars. Okay, favorite car, okay, then let's give it a break. Okay, and then okay, I'm going to give it a break. Let's just leave it that way. So I'm going to have a select element there. Now inside the select element, I'm going to have options to select from. So we'll have our option element. Then I'm going to give it a value of that option. Now value is the type of car that you want to select from. Let's say our first option is the Volvo. So you have Volvo there. So Volvo there also as the value and as the text. So you see already your Volvo displayed there. So we want to add another option. So let's say option. Okay, so let's say another type of car is a Fiat or Fiat. Okay, let's give it the same text there. Let's give it another option. Let's say we have Audi. Let's give it a 4 of Audi. Similarly, give it text there. So you have our last option there for car brands. So let's say you have a Subaru. Let's give it the text of Subaru. Okay, so you are going to check here. When I click here, allow the options that I love to pick from. Okay, now I can choose one option. Now let's say the Subaru option now and say this is the one that I want default selected. So I'll put selected there so that anytime I open the form, it's the Subaru that will be selected if I reload the page. Okay. Now, if I shift my selected from Subaru, so right now, if I refresh the page, I keep seeing Subaru. Whenever I select another one, then refresh, goes back to Subaru. But if I change my selected here to a Volvo, then if I pick another, if I pick Subaru, refresh, goes back to Volvo. So that's the default option. Now, the form is looking pretty good, so one more type to go. That's text area. It's almost similar to input type text, but now this one has a bigger area for writing longer texts. So let's have a label, okay, label that tells us to give our feedback. Okay, so let me add a break there so that I can have it styled nicely. So our label is telling us to give feedback. Okay. Now below it, let's have a break there. Below it, we'll have an input type text area. So input type text area. Okay, or we'll have text area element itself. Sorry. Yeah, text area is an element that has an opening and a closing element. So we'll give it feedback and then an idea of feedback. Okay. For our text area there. Now lastly, we're going to add a button for the form. So we'll add a button there. Okay. Now we'll give it type attribute over submit. Okay, let's say submit there. Okay, so let's make it appear below. Okay, that's a nice place to have the form. So yeah, right there, we've written a good form, nice form there. That's very common. So if I were to enter my user details, say Mike, say the last name is Nyambega, say my email. Now let's say I want to put ABC or AST like that. Then when I come back, I have some alert that telling me, please include an at in the email address. So ASD is missing the at. So this because I had put my email type or input type to be email. So I'll put like there at gmail.com. Age, I'll say that 27. Gender male, then hobbies, let's say singing, reading, playing, and then let's pick a favorite color there, say Audi, then feedback, say awesome. Okay, now my form is fully filled up, so if I click submit, it should take me somewhere, but notice that we had already not given it somewhere that it should take the form, but in the future tutorials we're going to learn how to actually submit a form and take the data elsewhere. So that's how we create forms in HTML. So thank you for watching and see you next time.